Map 6 crystals now contain a very low chance to award a fully formed Tier 2 Alpha. 200% increase in tier. I really wish that you hadn't have seen me like that. Although, of course, this is a video where I could just edit that part out, which makes me a liar. Kabam is updating Alliance Quest, and I want to take a look at the rewards first, because I know that's what a lot of you guys are going to care about. There's some major increases in the yields that we get from the map crystals. Of course, Kabam wants to point out, though, that these are approximate values, so over time it's going to be a large increase in rewards, but of course, crystal by crystal, some crystals are going to contain more rewards than others. So yeah, if you pop open like one at a time, you might not notice the increase. But if you pop open like 50 of the old versus 50 of the new, you're going to notice the increase for sure. Because, yeah, these numbers are not small. Map 6 is getting the biggest boost by far, it looks like. But then, of course, maps 2 through 5 are also getting quite the boost. Unfortunately, Map 1 sees no changes. You don't have to hold on to the current Alliance Quest crystals that you have, however, because these are going to be new map crystals. These they're gonna be different crystals entirely. So yeah, don't save your crystals. It's not gonna do you any good. There's also going to be a change to the Glory Store. This is a fairly minor change to the Tier 2 Alpha, Tier 1 Alpha, and Tier 4 Basic, but the prices are being reduced a little bit. There's also been a little bit of an adjustment to the ranked rewards, as now the top 1,200 alliances are going to get their hands on some Tier 2 Alpha fragments. It's the only thing in the ranked rewards that are getting adjusted is now there's going to be increased Tier 2 Alpha for all of these alliances here. You'll notice that there are no Tier 5 Basic in the ranked rewards, and I'm going to get to that in a little bit when I read Kabam's goals for Season 5 of Alliance Quest. Essentially, they want to keep the Tier 5 Basic to Alliance War for the time being. Alright, there's also a little bit of a change to the milestones at the top end of the list here. The top end of the milestone list, there's some additional milestones you may have noticed. Currently in-game, 190 million is the highest milestone, and I don't even think that's achievable by anyone, even if you're at the highest prestige. I don't think so, at least. And now they're adding 3 additional milestones, which you may be able to guess also means that we have access to some additional points, and I'll get to that in a little bit as well. So that is the changes to the rewards for Alliance Quest. Let's go ahead and take a look at essentially the next biggest change. In fact, this is probably the first biggest change. You can see this is a large poster. You're definitely going to want to check out this post for yourself. But the biggest change overall is now we can select different maps for different battle groups. So no longer do you have to run the same map across all 3 battle groups. If you're a growing alliance and maybe one of your battle groups is a little bit weaker than the other 2, well, now you can go down a map for that battle group. Likewise, if you're in an alliance where, all 3 of your battle groups are pretty strong and you're all capable of doing map 5, let's say, but you have that one hardcore group that wants to do map 6 and everyone else is not really on board, well, you can select one of your battle groups to do map 6 and the other 2 do map 5. Or you can make any combination of maps and then run those maps as an alliance. If you want to have a dedicated vacation group, let's say, where that vacation group just runs map 3 or something like that, you can certainly do that, or even lower map, right? You can pick anything you want. In terms of price for the different maps, there's a little bit of adjustment here, and this one's a little bit complicated at first. Kabam wants to encourage alliances to try a higher difficulty in Alliance Quest. So what they're doing is they're going to keep map 4, the cost is exactly the same, but for map 5 and 6, they're switching up the cost a little bit. Instead of each battle group having the exact same cost for the map, they're going to break it down a little differently, and the first battle group to try a higher level map is going to pay 25% of the total cost instead of, essentially 33% if you broke down 100% divided by 3, right? So what they're doing, instead of 33, 33, 33, they're working out to 25, 50, and 25. So it is going to help alliances that look to, feel out. Let's say you're running all 3 battle groups map 5 right now, And when the update hits, you want to, you want one battle group to try map 6. Maybe not every battle group is ready, but one of the battle groups wants to try map 6. Well, what you can do is have that one battle group try it out, and they'll get that discount. Now, it doesn't actually matter which battle group it is that wants to try that higher difficulty. It could be battle group 1, battle group 2, battle group 3. They say here, they break it down in a 5-6-5 pattern, where they'll say you'll pay for battle groups 1 and 2 of map 5 and 1 of map 6. So going by this chart right here. So it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment to get used to in terms of what people are going to have to pay for donations. And if you are just going to run your alliance where all 3 battle groups run the same map, then it's not going to be any change. It's only going to be a change to alliances that want to kind of mix and match how they want to set up their battle groups. Each member of the alliance will get the completion reward. So if one battle group completes map 6, for example, all 30 members get that one map 6 crystal. Same thing for the other maps. So if you did run a configuration of 4, 5, and 6, and you completed it for all the battle groups, well, then each member of the alliance would get one map 4, one map 5, and one map 6 crystal. Kabam says it's about encouraging alliances to try higher level maps, but really, I think it's about friendship and keeping people together. Let's go on to the other changes here that are planning to keep Alliance Quest a little bit more varied, more variety. First off, in maps 2 through 5, there's going to be randomized enemies, and they are not going to be hidden. The enemies that can be randomized, they're not going to be hidden. So, if you're curious about who you're going to be fighting that week, and if you want to change the champions that you bring to Alliance Quest as a result, you can certainly do that, or you can choose just to run, the same champions that you're fine running now. There's also a lot of new encounters. Almost every other non-buffed encounter across maps 1 through 5 has also seen an update, and 17 of the 122 encounters in map 6 are getting an update, which really isn't much for map 6, but Kabam does go on later in this post to say that there is a big change coming to map 6 in the coming months. There are some updated nodes, so you do want to make sure to check out the new nodes. Kabam wants to point out specifically one of the biggest changes is in map 5 section 2, where they say the immunity path has been changed to a masochism path, and the power gain path is now a power reserve plus burden of might path. Those nodes, they're definitely nodes that you can handle. I don't think it's anything too crazy. It is going to be in a little bit of an adjustment at first, but it does let you bring in some different champions. It sounds like you're not going to have to bring in immunity champions for map 5. So you can certainly change up the champions that you bring. Just check out the maps ahead of time before you actually join, since you can spectate and take a look at what the nodes look like ahead of time. Welcome to Kingpin's Conclave. With a title like that for Alliance Quest Season 5, I wonder what the final boss of the map is going to be. Kingpin? What? Kingpin's Conclave? The final boss is Kingpin? No way. There are going to be some new nodes for Kingpin as well, but nothing looks too crazy here. There's also a new difficulty limit for alliances who are at the prestige cap. So this is really only going to be an increased difficulty limit for very few alliances, essentially. The very top end of alliances. The way Alliance Quest works for everyone else is that it gets more and more difficult as time goes on. But certain players were at the point where every single day was exactly the same because, well, the champions couldn't go higher than rank 5, level 65. And Kabam is going to now increase their attack and health just like they do in dungeons. That way they can scale infinitely. However, the cap is now approximately 20 to 25% higher only. It does not scale infinitely. So it looks like there's only going to be 2 additional days of not hitting the cap for those few alliances who have very, very high prestige. Kabam also had to change the way that prestige scales for maps 1 through 4, and I'll just give you the summarized version here that they said. We've reduced how aggressively your prestige scales in maps 1 through 4, meaning that the increase/decrease of difficulty throughout the week will be lower. We've also adjusted the point curve so that you get just as many, if not more, points every series. So you might find yourself hitting a higher milestone potentially than what you were hitting previously, while the difficulty is actually not going up and might be slightly even easier once you get used to the new maps, at least for maps 1 through 4. And all these changes go into effect on September 9th. So we have 2 more rounds of Alliance Quest before the new changes kick off. So get ready. You might want to maybe hold off on certain rank ups until you see what the new maps look like exactly, and then base your rank up decisions based off of that. I don't know if you're going to need to bring in different champions or not. I think most people will be fine with the same champions they have. It's not going to be like when they added Sentinels and people really had to kind of switch up which champions you had to bring to counter those guys. I think for the most part, there's not going to be too much change overall. Mostly an increase in the rewards that we get, and then that whole system of being able to mix and match different maps that we want to run across the battle groups if you don't have an alliance that wants to run all 3 battle groups of the same map. So that's it for all the changes coming to Season 5 of Alliance Quest, but there is some other information here that's also pretty interesting. Kabam says that we also want to let you know that this is just the beginning. We know that Season 4 has been around for a long time, and until the update that brought Sentinels into the fold hadn't been touched in over a year. We're not going to do that again, and want to be more frequent with our updates and changes of seasons. You may find yourself asking why we haven't made any changes to Map 6 this time. Well, with how demanding that map is, we didn't want to introduce a lot of changes all at once. We're looking to do a big refresh to Map 6 in the coming months, independent of changes to other maps, but not until alliances have gotten used to this update first. So this is in line with what they've said that they would try to do in the past, where they're kind of rolling out changes little by little instead of just hitting us with a massive overload of a change to a system. Additionally, we wanted to let you know that while there are still some limitations to our beta system that make it extremely difficult to beta test changes in alliance modes, we took some time to give this information to a small group of summoners to get their feedback and make some adjustments accordingly. We weren't able to take on all of their feedback, but their feedback has given us a lot to think about for future iterations of Alliance quests. We want to thank them for all their valuable criticism and suggestions, and for taking the time to help us make Alliance Quest better for all the summoners in the Battle Realm. And I want to be very clear here and say that this is a different group than the Content Creator Program. This is not the Content Creator Program. That is something different. So Kabam is reaching out to to more players, basically a wider group of players to get their feedback on this kind of thing. So yeah, between this new and improved beta feedback thing that they have going on here, the dev Q&A that they recently allowed the content creators to be part of, and the dev thoughts post about dungeons and why certain changes were being made there. Kabam has really stepped up their game when it comes to communication. So yeah, this is all fantastic stuff to see, and I hope that Kabam continues this level of communication going forward, because yeah, this is great. This is fantastic. This is stuff that we didn't really get before, so love seeing this kind of thing. And yeah, I'm just excited for Alliance Quest changes. Let me know what you think about it. That is going to do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.